Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and today we're talking about adapting in our industry. And for those who have chosen not to adapt to a lot of the things that are changing in our industry and our supply chain, my fear is that if you don't adapt, you may have to close your businesses or leave the industry. Before we get started, the Coffee Consultants Mastermind group starts its next 6-week program in the middle of September. Head to the website, mapperforward.org/group coaching. The link is in the show notes to register for your interest to participate. Also, consider subscribing wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. All right, adapting. With all the things that are changing and shifting in our industry right now, whether it be around pricing, whether it be around labor shortages, whether it be around technology because of lockdowns and shifts in consumer behavior, shifts in technology, etc., etc. Lots of things are changing. And we are an industry that historically does things the same way we've always done them. My fear is that for business owners and for professionals in our industries, employees who resist the change, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to decide that it's just too hard to participate anymore if I'm not going to adapt. Now, what do we mean by adapting? There are technological shifts that are going to be required if you want to stay competitive. Now, a lot of those things, a lot of things in our industry, you may be able to keep doing the same. But an example of where you may get caught out. You may have a cafe in the city, and it's a busy cafe. But because of shifts around labor, you can't afford to have a POS person. You can't afford to have somebody who stands there and is a designated employee who takes your orders. And so one thing that would help that situation could be that you decide to have people order off an app before they arrive. And this may be something that happens that most people in your city are adapting towards because it's happening. It's happening all over the world. People are now having systems where you order and it's like a click and collect kind of approach, where you still get the opportunity to perhaps engage with a barista, you get to engage with some staff, but because of labor shortages, you're not quite able to engage with all staff or have a full team. And the cafe that people are going to is, used to have 5 people on shift and now there's only 2 people on shift. But you want to keep revenue where it was because of all the other reasons that business is getting harder and harder. Your expenses are increasing, your rent's increasing, so you need revenue to stay the same, even though you've had to cut your labor costs because you can't get employees. You still need your revenue to remain the same, just to keep the doors open. Now, if what you decide to do is say, well, screw this, I'm just going to keep going on the way that I've always done things and whatever happens, happens. Let's see if we can ride this out. But there is no riding this out anymore. This is the new way of business. This is the new way consumers in your city are conducting their consumer behavior. We are beyond the point where we're saying that the pandemic was just a phase and consumer behavior is just a phase. With the constant lockdown and then open up and lockdown and open up and lockdown and open up, consumer behavior has fatigued. consumers' ability to want to get behind small businesses and adapt to everything that's constantly changing, it's fatigued. And so if you can have a way that's consistent for them to engage with your business, no matter whether you're in lockdown or whether you're opened back up, that means you're going to survive. It means you're adapting. And, most people don't like change. But this is just one example where if you don't adapt to the change, they're going to go elsewhere. And if they go elsewhere, it may be that it's super unfair that they've chosen to support a different business because it's convenient, as opposed to your business, which has been there longer and has better coffee and has better customer service from baristas and the food's better, etc., etc. But these days, people are choosing how to engage based on many more things than the product that you're offering. And so, for that reason, adapt or close. That's what's going to come. And as unfortunate as it is, that's just the way of the future of our industry. Right now, we have many things that are influencing what keeps a business open and what doesn't. And that seems to be changing every month based on what crisis is showing up in the moment. And as a business owner, I absolutely relate to the fatigue that we're all feeling out there. But this is the storm that we're facing right now. This is the season that we're in. And there is a correction happening in our industry, and whether you survive it or not is going to be heavily influenced by your ability to adapt. If you need help in learning how to adapt, think about joining one of our small business mastermind groups. It's the thing we spend most of the time talking about. How do you adapt and change so that you're always proactively ahead of the curve for the business that you're in? And it's been incredibly successful for the people who have been a part of our mastermind groups. Links in the show notes. If you found this helpful, consider liking this video or the audio version of the podcast if you're listening to it. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.